TD, Info Joe, Teal Nation, Strut Nation. Welcome to 54 minutes of the Aloha means goodbye. Teal birds will fly. Hawaii, all the way. Yes, we know the way to San Jose. After a win, it's mahalo. Suit up, it's time to go. A win is sublime. It's Ohana time. Landed on the shore, and it's time to play. On the beach, Joe can stroll. Hawaii Bowl. TD gets attacked by trolls. Stop the Spartan roll, and I don't speak Espanol. 234 Hut, you're listening to The Strut. Tonight's episode, titled Brought to You by the Alumni Association, is No Way, Jose.
No way, Jose.
Joe, right now, and I'm in Somerville. TD, you're in Conway, so I feel closest to you tonight, TD, of everybody on the team. Right now, TD, I have 35 degrees in Somerville. What's it like in Conway?
32, clearing skies. I'm inside the man cave. I'm inside the Teal Command Center here that my wife lets me have as Santa Claus goes by on the top of the tree here. But Joe, by all means, enlighten us in the challenging situation that you're currently in at the bar of the hotel with Diamond Head behind you.
Boys, this is tough duty, but somebody's got to do it, right? You know, we are here on Oahu, here in Honolulu, Waikiki. It is about 70-ish or so right now. The trade wind's blowing. It's about 3:45 in the afternoon. Diamond Head back over here. Got the Pacific Ocean behind me. Not sure how well you can see it, but man, it's tough duty. It's tough duty, but hey, somebody's got to do it. We're at the Sheraton Waikiki. It's been a great stop here, great stay for us. The last couple of days, of course, we'll be here through the bowl game. On Saturday when we play the bowl game, we'll be here until then, and still a lot of great things the team's doing. But man, it's tough. It's tough duty. Enjoyed every minute of it so far.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. We tried to do our best Hawaii from Carolina, if you will. The Teal Troubadours are tweeting at me in the show saying, "TD, why are you not on the porch?" Boys, like I tweeted at you, with love. But it's 35 or 32 and falling, and TD has his limitations, but it's a little chilly outside, boys. But Joe's enjoying it.
Speaking of
Joe's enjoying it,
I have to ask this question, Joe. For this particular ball game, if Coastal scores 50 points, is it a 50 burger or Hawaii 5-0?
Oh, that's a great question, TD. You're so good at this kind of stuff. It's got to be Hawaii 5-0. You know, if we put a 50 spot on the board, it's got to be Hawaii 5-0.
Second question. Is the Polynesian sauce at Chick-fil-A better than the one you're getting in Hawaii right now?
We ate at some place. We ate poke at a poke bar today. My wife and I ate at a poke bar that was really good Polynesian food. Really good stuff. You know, I hadn't hit a Chick-fil-A yet, but yeah, I mean, anything you want to eat, you can find out here. Anything. It's just great.
I was prompted to ask that question, Joe. That wasn't mine. And guys, I promise you guys and all of our listeners, I will not use any cheesy Hawaiian punch lines while we're doing this episode this evening.
Sweet Hawaiian roll chili. I mean, God almighty. You know, I tell you what, Joe, you'd be a real king if you could bring back some Hawaiian rolls to us. You know, it's you know.
I'll see what I can do, man. I'll tell you what, my duffel bag was packed. It was jam-packed when just to get it on the plane to get out here. I don't know how I'm going to get it back with the stuff that we're buying. So I'll see what I can manage.
Hey,
so what's something you've seen so far that only you're going to be able to do while you're in Hawaii since you've been out there?
Gosh, well, I would say we haven't done it yet, but we're going to Pearl Harbor tomorrow. The team, I think, is doing that today. Obviously, this is the only place that you can do that. Yeah. You know, I mean, and swimming in the Pacific. I did that yesterday. It was glorious. It was so nice to be out there in that water, right? I mean, and then just seeing what this place looks like. I mean, just seeing, God's creation out here in the middle of the Pacific, out in the middle of nowhere, 5,000 miles roughly away, from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It took us 10 plus hours to get here, but just an amazing scenery. Just the topography is just incredible here. And I'd obviously never been here. First time I've been here, got to take the wife on the trip for our anniversary. So just a lot of things that we will eventually, if we haven't done it yet, we will do that we will not have a chance to do back home.
Joe, there's one thing that you can do at home, and that's visit Handley's.
That is exactly right. If you're looking for if you can't be at the stadium on Saturday, if you can't make it to TC Ching Sports Complex there at the University of Hawaii on Saturday, what the next best thing you can do is go to Handley's Pub and enjoy this game. It's 10:30 at night. Yeah, but hey, go to Handley's Pub, CCU class of 2002, the official pub of the Strut Podcast, located in Carolina Forest. It's a little bit of a drive here away from Sheraton Waikiki, but go to Carolina Forest. We will see you at your local pub. Handley's in Carolina Forest, 3873 Renee Drive in Myrtle Beach, 843-903-4904. Handley's, the official pub of the Strut Podcast.
Nice.
Hey, Joe, Chili, I got to ask, though. I know we're going to get into the San Jose stuff and the bowl stuff and the schematics and all that, all the fun stuff, and then around the bell. We're going to go through all that. But if we can grant each other 3 minutes to honestly take in what's going on right now, we've passed our 100-episode mark on our last, about a week or so ago. We've got Tyler Thigpen, who's committed to come on after the new year to talk about the Hall of Fame piece. But think about where we are now. Our university is playing in the Hawaii Bowl, the Hawaii Bowl in Honolulu. Our guys, I was texting with Perry Parks and a couple of the staff members. They're currently at Pearl Harbor taking in that memorial and what that signifies to our nation's history and our freedoms and what we do. And Joe being military, we've always highlighted that. And he's going to go to there tomorrow. And I've seen the pictures. So for me, I just want to take in this moment as our fans see social media and they watch the game Saturday night at 10:30. And we're currently on our podcast. It's 5-hour difference. And, it's all fun. Joe's got Diamond Head over his back right shoulder. But just take in for where this podcast started to where it is, where our program started to where we are. Just history, you and I, Joe, being men that enjoy and appreciate historical moments. And sometimes you have to get past the historical moment to then go back and reflect on it. Rare the occasion do you get to reflect on it while it's happening. But this is pretty special, man. I mean, this Hawaii Bowl is a bowl. It's not one of the 6 or 8, the Fiestas or the Sugar or whatever. But it's a bowl that has a long reputation in the bowl landscape, if you will. But right now we're doing this podcast from South Carolina to Hawaii. Our team's there. Joe, I offer all that up to tee it up to say, if you can, in your own right, what has the last 24 hours been to 48 hours been, if you will, just from experiencing Hawaii, not only as a tourist, but as a football historian, as someone who's called our program for 20 years, what is that? What does that mean to you? What do you think that means to the program right now?
Obviously, it's special, TD. I mean, and you really have to go back to when we took off out of Myrtle Beach. The plane was a little bit late getting out of there. Had to get it fueled. It was a 777. We had almost 380 people on the flight, and of course, it'll be that way after the game too. It's a long one-way. Well, it was a long nonstop to get out here, but once we got out here, it was like 7 o'clock at night, and we're all trying to get our internal clock straight, right? I mean, East Coast time to Hawaii time's a 5-hour difference, and we're trying to get all that right. But just to be here, I mean, you mentioned the fact that, in terms of this being one of the bigger, quote, bowl games that's always been on the college landscape, maybe not, but I mean, where in the world would, a couple of 7 and 5 teams, where would you rather be? If you're going to a bowl game this year, where would you rather be? No offense to anywhere else and no locations wherever they may be, on the mainland. But holy cow, I mean, where else would you rather be than Hawaii? I mean, it's just an amazing experience. And I'm really happy for our kids to be able to come out here. And, some of them would never, ever get the opportunity to do this. Never. You can get in a car and drive just about anywhere, in the continental United States. But, I mean, you're not getting out here unless you're in a bird, and it's gonna cost you something. It's gonna cost you time and money and whatnot to get out here to just to see the beauty of this place, and for Coastal to be here is pretty amazing. How Matt Hogue and Dr. Benson, Michael Benson they were kind of spearheaded this to put this together. When all the bowls were starting to kind of sort themselves out, and teams and conferences were trying to get things figured out, and some conferences didn't. They couldn't fulfill all their bowl slots, which is why we got here, right? I mean, this is an American Conference Bowl. They didn't have enough. And obviously the Sun Belt had more than enough this year. And so it our guys took the lead on this thing, and here's where we are. So that's testament to our university, our athletics department to get us here and have this experience for these kids. And like I said, you mentioned Pearl Harbor, they're on that Pearl Harbor trip. I think they're doing a water park if they haven't already done that. And, some other tours and whatnot. I got to go on a dinner cruise last night right out there behind me, just off the, outside of Honolulu. My wife and I got a chance to do that. I mean, we're not going to have a chance to do that probably again for a long time, but just for the team and the administrators and the coaches and everyone, the CAF members, Kelly Moore did a great job of organizing the CAF piece of all of this. So, and hats off to Brian Stiles too. Got to mention him, and how a lot of people really pulled together to make this happen for this program. So I'm happy for everybody. It's been a great trip so far.
And I think the historical piece, we're going to look back on this hopefully when we get that W versus San Jose State. And a lot of folks don't know about San Jose State. I know Chili does a fantastic job from the school profile, but the one thing that I have an ask of, and Chili, you do a great job. You do a fantastic job. Joe, I'll have a serious question though, and it's a maintenance question. Very serious question. How many of our Struddies and Teal Nation know that a lot of West Coast teams, and I believe the University of Hawaii, I could be wrong, but I Googled this. They have sports turf, but instead of using rubber pellets, they actually use a blend of coconut shell and some other fabricated material because they do not use ground up rubber. Can you confirm what the granules are on that field? Not tonight, just by end of week. All seriousness, it's not. Somebody asked me that, and I thought they were joking, and I Googled it. There are a lot of West Coast teams, and I believe the University of Hawaii and other very sandy universities that actually utilize a coconut fabric or material granular blend for their turf fields, and it actually makes them a little slicker during other times. So if you can find that out.
When you were researching that, did you find out that the coconut shells are actually ground up, or they just like take a coconut, break it open, and throw it on the field? Or is that how that works? Or
they make a cocktail at the bar where Joe's at.
Okay.
They grind it up, ship it out back. No, all seriousness. I thought a person who texted me was like, "Hey, did you know about this?" And I was like, "What's one of our listeners?" I was like, "Are you serious?" He was like, "Dead serious." And I went, so I Googled it, and lo and behold, there are certain universities beginning to use a coconut granular blend because it is, they believe, more sustainable to.
I think, TD, you got the text from somebody named Kurt Signetti's cell phone. Is that who you got that text from?
I did not get Kurt Signetti's cell phone from Bloomington, Indiana, which, by the way, that tweet he put out was such a dig at JMU. And you know what? Cheers to JMU fans and the guys that listen to this. Appreciate you doing our bowl pick'em. But, man, we thought Jamie Chadwell going to our longtime rival Liberty was challenging to deal with. How about your head coach going to Indiana and having your roster guidebook, or, Joe, what's it called?
Like a media guide.
Media guide sitting on his desk. Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
Hey, all I know is Kurt Signetti's cell phone right now is 8-1 to the bowl pick'em.
Well, hey, listen, Chili's revenge on
about
Nexus.
That? How Kurt Signetti's cell phone?
I haven't even checked.
Doing some good things.
Chili's revenge is 7-2. So
I haven't even checked what
just
TD's
a heads
doing.
up on that. I'm going through that later on. I got some.
Okay.
We've got one person who's undefeated right now. Let's talk about San Jose State.
Let's talk about it, baby.
Mountain West Conference. They were founded in 1857. They have a roughly estimated enrollment of 28,100. They have a good list of famous alumni. I'm going to have to tweet out like who had the best famous alumni over the course of this season. Guys, this is a good list too. I just like this kind of stuff anyway. Former baseball commissioner Peter Ueberroth, Fleetwood Mac's Stevie Nicks, anthropologist Diane Fossey, the comedians, the Smothers Brothers, Joe. You're a big fan.
Absolutely.
Eating champion Joey Chestnut, San Jose State alum. Coaches,
love that guy.
Bill Walsh, Dick Vermeil, both San Jose State people, as well as quarterbacks Steve DeBerg and Jeff Garcia. TD, their mascot's name is Sammy the Spartan, or they just call him Sammy Spartan for short. In 1887, they originally called this school the State Normal School out of San Jose. Their athletic teams didn't have a mascot initially. They were looking to identify the school. Most of the time when San Jose State played any kind of a sport, Their logo had an SNS for State Normal School. That was mostly football and basketball in that period. Publications called it the California State Normal School, stuff like that. So they're looking for a mascot, and we're going to fast forward to the year 1922. TD, you remember that. They're looking for mascots and names.
It's a great year, Chili.
Here's
It's a
their
great
list.
year.
Here's their list, TD, Teal Nation, Strut Nation, of what the original ideas for mascots for San Jose State University are. They were originally going to be called either the Daniels, as in Jack Daniels, the Teachers, the Pedagogues, the Normals, and the Normalites.
The Normal Lights?
The Normal Lights.
Is that like normal? And then you
It's
have
Diet
like,
Normal. Yes.
Is that like Miller? And is that like Bud and Bud Light, or Miller Lights? Is that like interesting?
Exactly.
Interesting.
And so then they settled on the Spartan, and then we have Sammy the Spartan. So there you go. Daniels, Teachers, another word for teachers, Pedagogues, Normals, and Normal Lights. The guy, I guess, calls it State Normal School. As far as the important football information goes, right now, guys, they sit at 7-5 overall, 6-2 in the Mountain West. They've won 6 in a row. They are coming into this bowl game on fire.
Yeah, they are.
They've made the trip already to Hawaii once, to the place we're playing the bowl game in, and they beat Hawaii 35-0. If you haven't had the chance, Teal Nation, Strut Nation, TD, and Info Joe, who's coming to us from Hawaii, I guess I should say Aloha. San Jose State Stadium.
Hawaii.
That's right. Their stadium has gone some interesting renovations. They kind of took out what we call the visitor side, on the side that faces the press box, and they replaced it with a patio and an athletic center. So you've got like this, I don't know, terrace-looking seating on one side of the stadium and regular bleachers on the other. They cut back their capacity to around 20,000 when they did that. They have given up this year on the ground 172.9 yards rushing, and they've given up 181 yards passing on the average per game. Guys, I don't know if you checked this stat out, but I looked at some of their scores by quarter. They've scored exactly 400 points this year and given up 309, but in the first and third quarter, they are terrific. They gave up 37 total points in the first quarter this year, 63 in the third quarter, but in the second and fourth quarter, they gave up 107 and 102 points respectively. So maybe second and fourth quarter might be a time for us to kind of, I guess, do our thing. TD, you'll talk about that in a second.
Yep.
They have the 5th best offense in the Mountain West. They have the 2nd best defense in the Mountain West. Cordero is their passer, 2,558 yards, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He has been sacked 18 times this year. Robinson, leading rusher, 1,127 yards and 18 touchdowns. Nash, the leading receiver, with 704 yards catching and 8 touchdowns. Leading tackler is their linebacker, Parham, 94 tackles. Leading sack man is Trey Smith, defensive lineman. He's got 5.5 sacks on the year. And Javion Cole, cornerback, he has 3 interceptions on the season for the Spartans. Guys, that is San Diego State.
Chili, thank you for that.
Jose, baby.
San Jose State. San Jose State. Joe, from the booth, I always like to start with you first. One, because of what look, before we get into this, you have to acknowledge a couple things. One, we're not going to go too far into it, but to set Joe and I up, Chili, it's game planning for this is different and unique. You have to acknowledge that the transfer portal has changed some of the dynamic of us offensive defensively, right? So we're not going to report who is or who is not playing. We know some of that, but we know who's not playing, right? And that does add some wrinkles to it. However, the schematics of what we're looking at, the data that we're looking at, overall is going to be there. But before we go to that, I want our listeners to understand that those dynamics can impact how a game looks. And again, also before Joe and I get into it, where the teams left off in early December and where we are 2 to 3 weeks later, teams change, man. Teams change a lot. The dynamic changes. Some chemistry may be back to where it was almost preseason to coming out of camp. So you have to acknowledge that, right? So just be mindful of when we watch our team Saturday at 10:30. It may look at times like our team and then may not look like our team. But, Joe, I want to tee that up. That was on my mind before you and I get started, just because people may listen to this and Some of it may be off on Saturday, but I want them to understand why we may be delivering certain pieces of information in their package of what we think will happen when we deliver it. So,
yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of reiterate a couple of points I've made on earlier podcasts. That we kind of gave a little quick preview of San Jose State. I think they're the best team in the Mountain West at the end of the season. They won their last 6 ball games, and they did it looking really good doing so. I mean, New Mexico 52-24. They beat down a nationally ranked Fresno State team 42-18, November the 18th. They beat UNLV on the road, who had won 9 games this season. They won that game at that was the last game of the regular season. They beat them. Like Chili said, Hawaii 35-0 right out here on October the 18th. So they're back in familiar territory out here on the island. San Diego State, they beat them 24-13. And they did it primarily because they said, you know what, we're going to start running the ball. Chevan Cordero is a tremendous quarterback. He's thrown for over 2,500 yards this season and 19 scores. But they decided they're going to take those 2 running backs, Kyrie Robinson and Quali Conley, and say, they just said, you know what, we're going to give you guys a heavy dose of these guys. They rushed for 122 yards a game in their first 6, 242 a game in their last 6. Passing attempts went down from 36 in the first 6 to 22 per game in the last half dozen. So, they really had almost a total personality change offensively, and they went 6-0 doing so. Another big stat that jumps out at you, plus 13 in turnover margin. Plus 13. Think about that for a second. That's 13 more possessions that they've been able to take away from their opponents. And I think that ranks them. Where are they? That is number 4 in FBS. Red zone defense, the only team that's worse in the country. This might be something to take a look at on Saturday and keep an eye on. They are 129th in the country in red zone defense. If you get in the red zone against them, they're liable to give up touchdowns just about every time. Only Kansas is worse than San Jose State, but still they play a pretty good brand of defense. Talking with Coach Beck, they're pretty simple in what they do. Their schemes and concepts are not overly complicated. They remind him more of Marshall on defense than anybody else. In fact, we're just talking about that today at practice. That's just kind of my look at these guys. Again, this is going to be a difficult challenge. Their defensive front, very, very good, very stout. We're going to have to take advantage of scoring opportunities when they present themselves. That's something we just didn't do in the last couple of ball games against Army, James Madison. We had chances to score both sides of the ball, really. We're going to have to take advantage of opportunities because, again, I think this is the best team, even though they didn't make the conference championship game because of that screwy tiebreaker. I think this was the best team in the Mountain West at the end of the year. Hopefully we get off to a good start. We gain some momentum early in the game, which we didn't do against JMU. We had chances. We get off to a quick start. We go for the jugular. We attack these guys. We play to win the game, right? I know old Herman Edwards, right? You play to win the game. It sounds kind of trite, but it's so true. You attack these guys. We're not playing tentatively. Coach was talking about this morning. We had a conversation about it. We attack these guys. We go after them, make some things happen, and let's see. Could be a fun night for the shots.
Chili, Joe, y'all, you've highlighted players, you've highlighted dynamic, you've highlighted approach. I'm just going to add to it. Normally I come in with a whole bunch of schematics and we got to run this, run that. Here's where it's at. First and third quarters, Chili, you both took a lot of the thunder, but I'm glad you did because ultimately I can highlight it so we can get to some other things. But first and third quarter, can we equally match them in the first and third quarter? What's Joe, Chili, what does Coach Beck talk about? Winning those 4s, right? The first 4 coming out, the 4 right before halftime, the 4 right out of halftime, and the last 4 of the game. They're winning those. San Jose State has been winning those this year, especially in the last 6 games of the year, where they absolutely went on a tear. They went to the ground and pound game. Cordero has been efficient with the ball. The one thing that we can do defensively, here's where it's at. If we can get pressure on them to create TFLs, doesn't matter if it's a quarterback, running back, put them in 3rd and 7 situations. TD, this is pretty common sense football. Yeah, but for this team, Chili, you took away a data point that data doesn't lie, but it can be misdeceiving, right? In this scenario, it's not misdeceiving. It's exactly what it is, right?
Mahalo, TD. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Dr. Benson was talking about that in the terminal before we left on Monday.
What did he say? I got to ask. What did he
And
say?
exactly what you just said, because we're talking about the strut. He said, I love it when TD says misdeceiving.
Has
So
he
there you
walked
go.
into a presentation at school yet? He's got to have like some kind of thing where he's got the big charts. He's got
That's
to
going to be,
"Now, don't look about
in
this."
it. It'll be in his next book. It'll be in
It's
his next book, I'll
misdeceiving.
bet you.
Data doesn't lie, but it can be misdeceiving. So to your point, Chili, is they've given up a lot of sacks, right? And Joe, they're bad in the red zone. So these two correlate. So you've got to get them in 3rd and 7, 38. Well, that's everybody. Yeah, but there are a lot of teams that actually convert a lot of 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9s, if you will, right? And they're efficient at that. They're just efficient on 3rd down or 4th down or convertible downs. San Jose State, though, when you get them in passing situations, not even obvious passing situations, but passing situations, they become extremely susceptible to the sack or TFL in general because they have to do something that has not been successful for them the last 5 or 6 games, right? And Joe, to your point, put them in a position to be in a 3-way tie for the Mountain West Conference. That is run and pound the ball between the tackles. They've got a lot of speed at the corner. They're going to do some flash screens. They're going to run some intermediate passes. They're going to try to go long. There's nothing that they're going to do. Coach Beck's saying they look a lot like Marshall at times. Defensively is interesting because they also they're very spurty on offense like a Georgia State was, right? How Georgia State was early in the year. They had a ground and pound game, and then they went up top. That's a lot what San Jose State's going to try to do as well. For us, we got to win the first 4 minutes out, control the controllables, which is our emotions and our mental capacity to understand where we are, that, yes, we're on vacation, but we have an opportunity, right? Right? We have an opportunity to finish 8-5 with a bowl championship off of a solid recruiting class, which we're going to touch on later. Those are the things that we have to build on. It does matter. 2, we're playing equally, arguably the 3rd, or in our humble opinion, probably one of the top team in the Mountain West Conference, which finished this year probably in the top, Joe, what do you say, Chili? Top 50, top 60 team in the country, the way they finished, not their record, but the way they finished and who they beat and where they beat them out. The other piece of this is San Jose State, they've been to Hawaii this year. They played on the coconut turf, right? They understand what that feels like and looks like. They've done this travel. This is not new to them. Nothing's going to surprise them about the weather, the turf, the team. It doesn't matter. However, can we control the controllables? Offensively, control the game with our running game. I understand we had some guys at the portal. I understand we had some guys from our receiving core at the portal. We've got 6 quality kids who have got us to this point, who understand the task at hand. Sam Pinckney is a leader in that room. He understands how to rally kids. This is not his first go around in a situation like this, right? Offensively, pound it, convert downs, red zone. Do something that we need to do more of that we did not do a whole lot of earlier in the year that we got better at later in the year. Convert 3rd downs and convert red zone attempts. Not with 3, but with 6, right? That's the key there. Also, too, there's going to be 1 or 2 special teams plays in this game, be it a blocked extra point field goal, a muffed punt, something like that's going to happen. It's happened in every bowl game, and I'm ended with this, gentlemen. There's going to be a special teams play that's going to flip this game momentarily. Is it going to be for the better or for the worse in the moment for CCU or San Jose State, right? That's the key. So offense, ground and pound, convert 3rd and convert red zone attempts. Off and defensively, keep them first and 3rd quarter. Get them behind the chains in the 1st and 3rd quarter, so it makes the 2nd and 4th quarter they have to get out of the construct and dynamic of what has built success for them the last 6 games. And when the opportunity presents itself with special teams, can we make a big play on special teams and not let the big play happen to us?
Speaking of ground and special teams, Joe and TD, if you're looking to purchase some ground and maybe you need to call up this special team over at Dan Sign Realty, he's the class of 2001. Dan Sign at Dunes Realty Sales is real estate done right. 128, Atlantic Avenue in Murrells Inlet. DanSignRealtor.com. You can call toll free 888-889-9312. That covers a lot of ground, Joe, and there's a lot of ground between you and I as well. So I'm just trying to work in every single real estate ground, whatever I can work in, because since we've gone to the whole self-segue thing on this show, I think I'm having a little more creativity, and I'm kind of enjoying the freedom. I'll be honest with you.
Absolutely. I get all that. And I may have to move here pretty soon because they're about to open up for dinner. So I may have to sign off for you
Nah,
guys.
Joe, tell them to come on in, man.
A little bit. It might get a little bit loud in here.
That's all right.
I'll hang on as long as I can. But they're about to open. I think we have about how long do we have left on this? We have about 25 minutes left. So hopefully
20, 30 minutes, maybe.
I
20,
can hang
30
on to
minutes.
this. So what are we moving on to here?
We're going to move on to around the belt real quick, kind of talk about what's happened just real quick so far as Sun Belt teams go, look ahead to what's coming up. There's a lot of games happening on Saturday in addition to ours. And then we can move on to looking at recruiting stuff and some basketball stuff and wrap the show up. Starting off in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, Georgia Southern fell to Ohio 41-21. In New Orleans, Jacksonville State defeated Louisiana 34-31 in OT. Great ball game there, by the way. In the Cure Bowl, App State wins 13-9 in a quagmire in Orlando. If you watch that game, it was a total mess.
Mercy, it was something.
In the Bahamas Bowl that was played in Charlotte, now it was Famous Toastery. Is that what it was? I'm sorry.
Bermuda, Bahama,
right.
Come
and now Joe's in Hawaii. There's a theme happening here. Western Kentucky.
It was Famous Toastery, and it was the massive choke job by Old Dominion. Massive.
Yes. 38-35 Western Kentucky in overtime. Yesterday on the 19th, UTSA defeated Marshall out in Frisco 35-17. Coming up on Saturday we got a lot of ball games. It was one Friday, but it's not Sun Belt. Saturday, we got Troy versus Duke in the Birmingham Bowl. The Camellia Bowl, Arkansas State versus Northern Illinois. The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, JMU versus Air Force. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Georgia State, Utah State. The 68 Ventures Bowl, Utah. The 68 Ventures Bowl, South Alabama, Eastern Michigan. And then the last one of the day for the Sun Belt will be the Good Guys against San Jose State. So if you are in the bowl pool, guys, and I know both of you are, I want to point this out. We have 107 people in the bowl pick'em.
That's awesome, by the way. That's
two
awesome,
people,
by the way.
Joe and TD. 2 are 9-0 at this point. We've got one person whose logo or pick set is just 3 exclamation marks. And the other person who's undefeated, TD, is your favorite person, Alaskan Sean. You called that person out in the last episode.
Alaskan Sean is 9-0. I'm 7-2. I'm 7-2. Joe, what are you? Joe, what do you say Joe was?
I'm 6-3 right now.
I'm 7-2.
So Joe, you're 7-2, Tilly?
Yep.
Joe, how's that look to be in the rear view, looking out your windshield?
Man, we got a long way to go, TD.
You're not going to make the BCS.
Way to go.
Joe.
All I know is Kurt Signetti's cell phone is 8-1 right now.
That's hilarious, by the way.
Isn't that hilarious?
Is that the same cell phone that was on his desk when he tweeted that picture out with the JMU?
I think it is. The same one he took to Utah State and showed the officials out there.
Maybe he should use Coastal Marketing, Joe. What do you think about that?
Hey, is it time for Coastal Marketing? Do I need to get that in real quick?
Real quick, Coastal Marketing? Some other stuff, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, so since we're talking about cell phones and we're marketing, how about Coastal Marketing? When you think Coastal Marketing, think Bob Baldwin, CCU class of 2011. When you think coastal and your marketing needs, think Coastal Marketing. Go see Bob Baldwin, Coastal Marketing. That's your official merchandise supporter of the Strut Podcast, 475 Sandy Lane, Suite A, Surfside Beach, 29575. You can call Coastal Marketing, 843-349-4848. You can see them on the web at www.coastalmarketinggraphics.com.
Perfect. Real quick, as far as basketball stuff go, I was in attendance Monday night at the College of Charleston. Guys, I thought back to Coach Moss and his time he spent with us on the Strut last week. And every single thing that Coach Moss said he was going to do when he took over the program, I witnessed him do it Monday night. One thing that stood out to me was multiple defenses, standing up, fighting for our guys. And I mean, Coach Moss was 3 and 4 feet off the sideline on the court at any given moment during gameplay, mind you, talking to officials, encouraging our players. I was happy with the effort. We didn't play too well in the middle of the game, kind of dug ourselves a hole, but then fought back. It was to the point where Coach Kelsey from the College of Charleston was fouling us because we had chances to hit threes near the end of the game. We've got some guys coming off the bench that are playing a lot more minutes in the CFC game. Some ones I hadn't really seen play a whole heck of a lot until College of Charleston's game. So they dropped the Wofford game 88-80. They were 3 points away from defeating the College of Charleston, and was he 84-81. So I mean, I'm encouraged. They take the court again tomorrow. Today's Wednesday the 20th. They play tomorrow the 21st at home against North Carolina A&T. The ladies tonight played against UT Chattanooga in the first game in their tournament they're in up in Cherokee.
They got
North
that
Carolina.
W, baby. Let's
They
go.
defeated UTC 53-49. So they get the winner of either Richmond or Michigan State in the next game in that invitational up in Cherokee. So ladies, good job. The ladies, by the way, they are now at 6-6 on the season after that win tonight. So
Come out. When do they play them, Chili?
I think tomorrow.
So are you telling me we could play the Michigan State Spartans
Yes.
tomorrow?
That is correct.
And then we could play the San Jose State Spartans on Saturday?
You are on fire.
Let's go 2-0 versus the Spartans, baby. Let's go.
And TD, since I know Joe's in a beautiful place there in Hawaii, I'm sure there's a lot of golf opportunities out in Hawaii.
Let me tell you
Is that
something.
true?
Honolulu and Diamond Head may look beautiful because they are, and they may have fantastic golf, but they don't have the golf that Myrtle Beach Family Golf can offer you here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You think that the rugs they have out there on those surfaces are great. You hadn't seen the rugs like a good mullet at Myrtle Beach Family Golf, right? You know what I'm saying? Kenny Powers, right? Kenny Powers may have a rival, rug to what Myrtle Beach Family Golf has. It's operated by Coastal alumni, and look, we've got a number of locations. You can try your talents out. You can try your talents out at either Jungle Safari, Jurassic Golf, Shipwreck Island, which would go very appropriate for Hawaii, by the way, Cane Patch Driving Range, and Captain Hook's Adventure Golf. Again, operated and managed by Coastal alumni. Myrtle Beach Family Golf. Golf fun for everyone, right? Bring your family, your mother, your mullet. Come shirtless, in a bathing suit. Whatever suits you, you should do whatever you want. Shirtless with bathing suits at Myrtle Beach Family Golf. They'll appreciate it. Just look. Tip the cart, ladies, right? Just tip the lady at the front. I got a question. I got a great question, though. I've wanted to ask this all year, and I finally got the moment.
Are you still doing the commercial, or are you done with that?
I'm doing the commercial, but this is part of the commercial.
Okay.
Joe, Chili, you cannot have a teal putt-putt ball, but if you go putt-putt, what is your non-teal favorite colored putt-putt ball?
You're asking us?
Asking.
I've never even really thought about it, to be honest with you, Chili. I mean, maybe, I don't know, yellow perhaps. I don't know. I've never really given that a whole lot of thought, to be honest.
I have two. If I can find a red one, I go red because it's my high school colors. Or, Joe, I go with a light blue color, and you know why I go with light blue.
I would know exactly why you go with light blue.
I go with either hunter orange, like that, like fluorescent orange, or I go that highlighter yellow. Because you know why? When I beat my wife every time at putt-putt almost, I want her to see that ball go in the hole every time, baby.
That stat line is ever changing. That stat line is ever changing.
Let me tell you something. The Danley household takes Coastal Athletics serious, but we take bowling and putt-putt right up there with the sanctity of marriage. You don't mess around with putt-putt and bowling.
So we only had, speaking of that, we only had one poll this week, and it was just asking our people who took part in the Bowler Challenge how they felt like their pig set did. And most of the people, 42%, said not bad. We had 30% going meh, 21% said heck yeah, and then 6% said thumbs down. That might have been one of yours, Joe. I do want to ask TD a quick question. TD, can you tell me the last place you went shopping? It can be online or physical store or whatever.
Is this a segue? Am I supposed to segue into something here?
No, I'm just messing with you. What's the last place you went shopping?
I tell you exactly where I went shopping. Teal Nation store downtown Conway.
All right. What's the last thing you ate?
I ate a gingerbread man about an hour ago.
All right. Put the store together. The last thing you ate, that's your bowl game. There's Mrs. Info.
The Teal Nation gingerbread bowl.
That's Mrs. Nexus right there.
Mrs. Nexus right there. Mrs.
Yep.
Nexus right there. So it's the Teal Nation Gingerbread Bowl.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
That's
hey,
how you get
Chili,
your bowl game.
Chili. Joe, I got a great poll question. The group of 5 guys put out a poll question that said, are you pulling for Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl? Currently right now, it's like trending at like 78%. Hell no. Can we please tweet that out going, Teal Nation, are you pulling for Liberty or Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl? And I know what the answer is going to be. I just want to hear it and see it.
See, mine would be the Lululemon Cheesecake Factory Bowl.
The Lululemon Cheesecake
go.
Factory Bowl.
Lululemon Cheesecake
Chili-
Factory. That's
Chili,
the
how
last
about
2
yours?
places we went today.
Chili, how
Mine
about yours?
is the Etsy Pasta Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Chili, got to tighten up.
No, I'm good. I admit that. I'm fine with that.
Hey,
I am totally fine with that.
can we do 2 poll questions in? One, Liberty versus Oregon, and tag the group of 5 guys in because that'd be funny.
Yeah.
But also name your bowl game and do that thing. Hey, say Teal Nation, Strut Nation. Name the last thing you ate and the last place you shopped. And then let it ride, man. Let it ride.
So we got one last thing to talk about, which is recruiting. I'm going to go ahead and hit Impact Chiropractic, and we can kind of land with some recruiting information if that's okay with you guys.
You mean like how impactful this recruitment class is going to be?
And you know what, Joe? You haven't complained once about any body ache since you've been in Hawaii. So you obviously have been to see Dr. David Turner, Coastal Class of 97 of Impact Chiropractic. He's been practicing in Conway, not in Hawaii, for 20 years. Dr. Turner believes in a proactive, wellness-based approach to achieving optimal health and function for the entire family. At Impact Chiropractic, we work hard to grow healthy kids rather than fix damaged adults. 210 Singleton Ridge Road in Conway, impactchiro.com, 843-347-9103. Today was a big day for our Coastal football family. We grew a little bit today, guys. So, I mean, you guys are more into the recruiting and knowing those guys that are coming in, what their, I guess, ratings and whatnot are. So if you guys want to take the last couple of minutes of the show, kind of hit some highlights of the recruiting class, that might be a good place to stop as we head into the ball game Saturday.
Joe, I'm going to give you, because you're out there, man, but I've got 2 or 3 that I'm excited about all of them, but there's 2 or 3 kids I'm real excited about. But go ahead, Joe.
I'm going to dig more into this for next week's podcast because obviously being out here and, you know, these guys are up at 2:00 in the morning. Our coaches were, you know, locking these guys in and getting the NLIs and all that kind of stuff secured. I mean, we signed 19 today. The group features signees from 10 states, including 3 from North Carolina, 3 from Georgia, 2 from South Carolina, and generally is regarded as one of the best Sun Belt recruiting classes that has been signed so far. So, I mean, I know Coach Beck had some comments he made today about it. I really haven't had an opportunity to listen to that, but I'm going to dig more into these signees as we go into next week's show because I want to do a little more homework on it. One guy I truly am. I mean, I'm excited about all these guys, honestly. But as I'm scrolling through the names, it'll hit me right here. The quarterback from the Bowl School. I'm really kind of high on this youngster right here, 3-star recruit by On3, 24/7 ESPN and Rivals, rated the number 25 best quarterback in the class of 24 by ESPN. I mean, youngster by the name of DJ Moore. But, yeah, really excited about him. And certainly all of these signees. And, again, I'm going to dig more into this and better prepare once I get back to the mainland and back on schedule and whatnot for next week's show. So 19 guys, great to have them.
You had a couple you wanted to talk about, right?
I did. Hey, look, the one thing that Coastal always gets hammered about is keeping in-state talent in-state, and especially at Coastal. So I just want to highlight 1 or 2 of them, Joe, chill if I can. Julius Tate, offensive lineman, 6'4", 315, Greenville High School, Greenville, South Carolina. Ranked as a 3-star recruit by On3, 247, ESPN Rivals, the ninth best prospect out of this state. We got, for the first time, one of the top 10 prospects out of this state, right? He's tabbed as the 13th best prospect in the class of 2024, 22nd best prospect out of class 24, based on ESPN, On3, so forth, so forth. But here's who he was recruited by. He was recruited by Northwestern, which means he's a damn smart kid, right? Marshall, UNLV, App State, Army, Central Michigan, Georgia State, JMU, Liberty, Old Dominion, right? Okay. Why does that matter? Those are regional rival schools that we're competing against, and we got that kid. That's one. The other kid was, I'm scrolling down. DB. There was a D. Also, by the way, I'm a little partial to some receivers, but the Jalen Harris kid, he's from North Carolina, right? He's from the Carolinas, 6'3", 195, national 3-star by all the syndications and whatnot. He's one of the top 50 recruits out of the state of North Carolina, which let it sink in. There's only about 4 or 5 million people, I think, total in all of South Carolina, maybe. I may be wrong with that. But there's twice as many people in North Carolina. So for him to be a top 50 kid in North Carolina, that's awesome. But here's a piece. He was recruited by us, Liberty, Maryland, JMU, Georgia State, Old Dominion, App State, okay? Why does that matter? Again, winning those regional battles. And this was one of the early kids that Coach Beck and them, Joe, you correct if I'm wrong. This is one of those kids that Coach Beck and them last year when he was a soft commit, they made sure they held tight on him because he is a game changer potentially for us in the receiving core. And, I can go, I'm like Joe, I can go on and on. There's a couple here. It's not a very large recruiting class. However, this is what you see via social media does not account for the transfer portal kids. They don't talk about that until after. That's why Joe wants to wait. I do too, Joe. And Chill, you do, because after the new year, once the season is completed, we can officially talk about those kids, right? The kids that we've highlighted. But the recruiting class is not as large, but it's the third-ranked currently recruiting class in the Sun Belt, only behind App State and Southern Miss, right? I'm excited about this class because it absolutely touches on a number of areas that we needed to hit. I mean, when you're talking about offensive linemen that are 6'5", 270, and they're national 3-star recruits at North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, those are the areas that we need to hit, man. That's awesome. So I digress, but next time, Joe, I'm with you. I look forward to talking about this recruiting class on the other side of the new year.
TD, South Carolina population is 5.1 million. North Carolina's population is 10.4 million.
So I was right. So it's about 4 or 5 million.
Exactly
about,
double, yeah.
Yeah, so double. That's why it matters. Let that sit in, though. Let that sink in, y'all, is they have twice the population. So if you're a top 50 kid in this state versus that state, it's not a devaluing of our kids. There's just more kids, though, that they're ranking. Again, it's not a devaluing, but to be in the top 10 from our state and to finally get one of those kids, Joe, I look back the last 5 or 10 years, I don't recall us ever getting a top 10 kid by all 3 recruiting agencies in South Carolina. That's the first time we've ever gotten a top 10 kid in our own state, which is pretty significant, man. It's an O lineman, right? That's it pays dividends. He comes here, he does well, it opens up doors for us to go back to that area and get another kid.
Joe, if we're going to listen to you and maybe watch Strut Style, tell us about the radio broadcast, because I can't wait to hear you say this, because when you say that radio broadcast and identify all that stuff, that's when I get game ready when we do these podcasts. When you announce it, that's when I'm like, okay, now it's time to play football. So go ahead, Joe. What you got?
Well, we've got a couple of broadcasts to talk about since this is going to drop on a Thursday, I'm assuming. On Friday night, this Friday night before the game eve, we've got a Radio Bowl special that will air at 8:30 Eastern, 8:30 to 9:30. We're going to be live at the hotel. We've got a number of guests already lined up. We wanted to wait kind of towards the end of the week to let these guys have the bowl experience, because we want to talk to these guys about some of the stuff, right, about what they've done this week, what this means to them to be out here, the memories that they've made, and also get a preview of what they're going to be looking at on Saturday. So 8:30 to 9:30 this coming Friday night, rather. We'll have a Radio Bowl special on WRNN, Hot Talk 99.5. That is our flagship, of course. 8:30 again, 8:30 to 9:30. And then our game broadcast for the bowl game, for the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl, will be at 9 o'clock Eastern for the 10:30 kickoff. Hot Talk 99.5. Our tailgate show, again, starts at 9 o'clock, kickoff at 10:30. Can't wait for that. Joe Katz, Chris Bergen will lead it in. They're out and about somewhere on the island right now. And then Lane and I will come in about 20 minutes before kick, and it'll be San Jose State against Coastal Carolina. So looking forward to that. Tune us in. Watch us on TV, but tune us in.
If you're looking for that last-minute gift idea for your Strut fan in your household, Zazzle.com/thestrut/store is a place you can customize anything you want that Zazzle offers, that you can put a Strut logo on. You can customize it however you want to. That's the Zazzle store. We've had it open for a while, and guys, we've had a lot of good sales on that, so people are getting their Struts merchandise. TD, tell us about the hats. How are we going to get a hat if we want to get a new hat? The Ghost digital hat. Joe's got the black one. Joe, is Little Nexus close by too?
Oh, God almighty, dude.
Look at this.
Hey, Tegan Brown will be out there covering for WF. Her and Ack are out there. Ack, if you're listening to this podcast, when you fly out tomorrow, brother, you're 5-4 in the bowl pick'em. Gonna need you to tighten those numbers up, Chief. Gonna need you to tighten those numbers up. Ed Piotrowski and Doc. Look, I don't know what y'all were tagged under, but your boy TD is 7-2. Gonna need to pump those numbers up. Teal Troubadours, let's go, boys. Pump those numbers up. Shant Show, pump those numbers up. Gonna need y'all to tighten up. Joe's wearing the black hat right now. I'm wearing the new Ghost Digital. Look, when you think Christmas, celebrate it for the right reason. But Chili's got the heather gray. Joe's got the black one. We're gonna call that.
This has got to be the trifecta.
This has got to be the trifecta right here. I've got the Ghost Digital. Chili's got the heather gray. Joe's got the black one right there. Look, Ghost Digital. Thank you, Bob Baldwin, for doing that. We are going to get some ladies' hats this spring. I've heard from the ladies. Ladies, I understand the men love the Richardson hats. Women want more of like a runner's hat. That's more of that different fabric. Bob Baldwin and I are going to talk. We're going to do something. We're going to do something for the ladies, and we're real excited for that. But look, Strutty Nation, Teal Nation, shoot me a text, call, or email. We'll get you a hat. TNT Podcast is a listener and follower of the show. Chili, thank you for reaching out. We're going to get you a hat, brother, and we appreciate all you do. We're down to the last few minutes. Joe,
Call this one the Hail to the Shots hat. What about that one, huh?
Well, how about
like
wait a minute? Well,
what do you think about that?
I like that. For Ma Bennett, when we wore the black hats,
We wore the
teal
black
logos,
uniforms.
That's right. So we got the Hail to the Shots, we got the Ghost Digital, and we've got Ball at the Beach. Heather Gray.
I feel like
Joe,
a
is that
right model? Look, Joe.
Joe, is that
Hey, Rod Roddy talking about the inventory while I model it for you.
And look, if you're anywhere near Conway at 10 o'clock, 10:30 on Saturday night, I know it's Christmas Eve, or like the 7th night of Hanukkah. I'm not being sacrilegious, I'm being funny. But if it's like the last night of Hanukkah, come on by. Look, 901 Collins Street, downtown Conway. I'll be watching it strut style under the carport. If you happen to be coming by, look, it's BYOB. The game's on. I'll probably have something grilling out there. You're welcome to come by, bring eggnog, and enjoy it. But Joe from Conway, from Charleston, from the greater Charleston area, out to Honolulu, Hawaii, brother. We love you. Y'all have a great time. Tell everybody we say go Shants, and send us off, man. Send us off.
Absolutely. Let's get a big shots up, and the Shots beat San Jose State.
Go Shants.
Shots up.